Have you ever watched the Emmys?
I've watched the Emmys. Yes. I want to start to think if I watched. I've watched. I've watched them. You know what? I think I watched them.
I probably would say that too, I understand.
I've watched Emmys and I've gone back and rewatched now. When everybody, like Breaking Bad was like all this kind of stuff and all the shows started, when TV really started changing and getting into that, where they went to that Breaking Bad and like shows started becoming these huge kind of shows where everybody was so into. But I've watched it.
Having fun, but I feel like it's kind of a question in my mind is like, you sort of, as far as like being someone who watches your comedy, it's like it may not be like the average person that watches the Emmys like watches you. So the crossover is kind of interesting to me with like bringing you in as a host. Like,
I was. I thought the same thing when they asked me. It was, because it's a delicate thing. I like everybody there. I'm impressed by everybody, and I know the hard work it takes to make stuff and get into stuff. Award shows are very exciting. I do like award shows, and I think a lot of everybody in the country likes award shows because it's fun to see your favorite things, if they're going to win or not win or whatever. So that's what I want to do, is try to blend that back into where it's, you have that kind of to the regular person to like, award shows are live. These are fun things. It's what can compete with sports in a way, somewhat. And so doing it in a great, fun way, it should be something that everybody looks forward to.
What is it like writing jokes for something like this about shows that, the whole country has been talking about, or maybe a big chunk of the country has been talking about for like a year?
It's finding a balance of where it's like, honestly, I haven't seen all the shows. So I'm not going to know everything about every show. And so it's trusting the writers on there. But then I want to, I don't want to be disrespectful to the shows too, because it's like I'm being ignorant for maybe not knowing these shows. Like it's not like I'm better than these shows or whatever. It's just whatever reason, people don't see everything. Not everybody saw my stand-up. Not everybody saw everything. So how do you ride that balance where you want to be, I want to be polite to everybody in the audience, but, we could also joke because, not everybody there has seen every show and stuff like that.
You were nominated for a couple creative Emmys this time around. I don't know. They messed up, man.
I thought it was guaranteed. I was hosting.
Yeah, I thought so too. Where they threw you a bone, right?
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah, it's just, as most people will say that night. It's nice to be nominated.
I think it brings up an interesting question because the category you were in was like variety special, pre-recorded. Do you think at this point, given how comedy's been so dominant, like that stand-up special specifically should have their own category?
I do. I absolutely do. And just for stand-up, the way where stand-up is going, there's a few comics doing arenas, a lot of comics doing theaters now. It's moving. Stand-up comedy is a newish art form. You talking about it as much is a big help for us because we got fortunate that you love stand-up comedy. And so it's getting way more into the mainstream.
Right.
And I think you need to have it together. Yeah, like the writing one is like, I'm up against SNL 50, and you're like, well, that's a whole team of writers.
It's a different ballgame.
And then this special one is like we're against like Mark Twain or like some big production. So I think stand-up should. I think people are becoming such big fans of stand-up, and they want to root on their favorite comedian. And comedians are a voice to kind of the rest of the country. They're the ones that we travel the country. We try these jokes all over the place. We're with those audiences. So I think you have some people are really in touch with their favorite comedians, and it would make them, it's a fun category.
And there's a lot to choose from.
There's a lot to choose from.
So it's hard, but it's also a great thing about where comedy is right now. And speaking of the voice, why do you feel like your comedy or your style that you're bringing to this award show is kind of necessary right now for the country? Or do you think in those terms?
I just do me.
Yeah.
And I think whatever I am has kind of caught up into me in this moment. Maybe are coming together at the right time.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think I intentionally am doing anything that I wouldn't have done even if I didn't have all these opportunities.
Yeah.
But it's what I like about doing it with stand-up and why I want to go and do these big shows and be doing these big tours and all this stuff is I do want, again, like I said, stand-up's a newish art form, and the fact of how you see it today. And so I want the next generation of comedians to realize that they can't just go be a stand-up comedian. They don't have to go, if they want to go do movies and TV, they can, but they can also make a career out of stand-up comedy.
Right.
When I first started, there was Brian Regan did it. Gaffigan's been great at it, like Sebastian. But overall, a lot of people had TV shows, or they were trying to get a TV show or get into movies or get into this, whatever the next step was. And where you want to go, stand-up comedy can stand now and just be like music, hopefully, and just go, musicians don't have to go try to be in movies and stuff.
Right, yeah.
They are musicians. So stand-up comedy, I think, is a great art form that should be portrayed and looked at. And you got to write it. You got to direct yourself. You got to perform it. You got to, when you work with a stand-up comedian, like if you get to bring a stand-up comedian on something, it's just nice because they've kind of done everything.
When it comes to you and your style, like I was talking about, with clean comedy and making it something that anyone can watch, how has that become sort of the most valuable tool for you as you're growing as not only a comedian, but also someone who's creating content for other comedians too?
I want to build that trust so they know
what
if they put me on, they can know what they expect. I don't want to surprise them. You're going to surprise them with your material, but you don't want to veer off of what kind of got me here. And so everything I build going forward with movies and anything else is kind of with that thing. It's like I try to build a thing, Nateland, the thing that they can trust and they can go, all right, I know what this is.
Yeah.
And with stand-up comedy, too, is, a lot of people come to shows. They've never been to shows. This is their first show they've been to. So a lot of people were intimidated by comedy because it can be very dirty, or what they know of it is very dirty, or it can be mean, or it can be this and that. And you get the audience in, to learn about it, and then they can go discover what they want to discover because it's, anything and everything is out there.
Yeah.
And so that's the big reason, is to get people in and aware and know, and then just hopefully this next young generation just keeps pounding and keep doing stand-up.
Right. And as you get more and more of these opportunities to get people exposed to you, the kind of stuff that you do, it just sort of, like I said, appeals to this sort of wide swath of people because everyone can relate, which also means in a lot of ways straying from like politics and stuff like that. Yeah. And I know with these award shows too, swinging back to that, a lot of times people get those jabs in, throw things in that are like more like hot button issues or whatever. But you sound like you're avoiding that with your monologue and everything. Did you ever have pressure? Do you feel like you had pressure to do any of that, or did you just kind of like say, I'm going to just do me for this?
I don't know. There would be a couple jokes, then I'd be like, I don't know if I want to say it. But none of them, everybody knows that I wouldn't. So they could even, because you can say stuff that would be broad appeal to it. But it's a matter of like, do I even want to bring it up? Like, I don't even, I'm sure people are going to have speeches and people are going to want to say whatever they want to go say, and they go do it. But for me, it's like, I should be the constant, like almost like the palate cleanser. Like when I come out, it's just like back to like, all right, be nothing. What I think or believe or any of that stuff just doesn't matter for what the purpose I'm doing. I'm there to be entertaining,
right,
and move the show along.
Any advice you may have gotten about hosting? There's plenty of comics that have hosted. Did you hear or have you heard anything advice-wise that you have taken to heart?
Yeah, a lot of it was to be you, to just do what you do, trust in what you do. I talked to Nikki and Conan and Jimmy Kimmel. I talked to last night, and he was really wonderful. He wrote a bunch of like kind of notes out and like really thought it through, and was just like, hey, if this happens, you need to go out there. If something weird happens, you kind of need to go out there, like as a host, like it don't take a long time, like get out there and like kind of, because hopefully nothing weird happens, knock on wood, but if it does, and just remind people who you are. Not everybody, I know that not everybody's gonna know who I am. As a stand-up comic, you might kind of be like, I think I know this guy, whatever. Yeah. It's like, just do it and, be polite, be respectful, make that audience their laugh, which I was thinking about the people at home, but it made sense to just be like, no, you really want to make them laugh, because then the people at home laugh, because then it's comfortable. It's fun. Make it a fun, comfortable night where everybody's kind of tense about that.
Feels like it's just going to be a noticeably less Hollywood vibe with you hosting, which I think is, again, what I think is maybe driving people to want to be more curious about checking out the show.
That's the kind of vibe we're bringing in. I mean, I wrote shows. I've done all the Hollywood stuff, and it's, we're starting to make movies and stuff now. And the Hollywood system, I think it's a good system. I think it's, I was kind of outside of it. I mean, I was on the road. I live in Nashville. It's like I just wasn't in it. And so, naturally I'm going to bring something different. That's a big reason why I moved to Nashville, was just because because your stand-up is about your life, and I just didn't want it to be like everybody else's life, because then you end up talking about the same things. So you need to go somewhere else to have different experiences, so then you have something different to talk about.
Yeah, and you're very staunchly Nashville, which I think is great, in terms of just how you bring it up in your specials, how you have sort of recirculated back into that with Nateland as well, which I think to people, again, who are just coming to you, to hear the term Nateland, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think trust. It's again, when you see that Nateland, I want you to feel good and be like, okay, I think, we're talking about, I'm going to build a theme park. And I want to build a theme park where I want you to, I remember we had Opryland when I grew up, but our parents would just drop us off at the theme park and we would go run around. They'd pick us up later on.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I want to create a place that has those moments where you can go do that stuff. Now it's like, you're always like, where's your kids? You got to think about them all the time. And you want to try to create a space, and these spaces for where these kids can come and you can be like, let them go be 15 and run around without their parents. And you shouldn't have to worry about it. And so it's really just keeping that trust going. That's the main thing with the Nateland, is just, I'm not going to make all the right moves.
Yeah.
Not perfect by any sense of the word, but I want you to really rely on me that I'm going to be there.
Right. And you also are that for comics too, because of the platform you set up to produce specials and all of that. And you've been, you're at the top of your game, but you seem like you're very involved in the careers of other comics. Why is that important for you?
I feel like when I came up, it was like, I was lucky. I had Fallon was great to me. Mark Maron was great. You had Gaffigan. I mean, I had people that were very nice and very helpful and very great. But it's like when you're kind of going up, it's like, I don't think anybody's was always looking to help you, and then people don't get out of the way, and then it's not always everything moves accordingly. So it used to just be that you're a comic, then you would try to get a sitcom, you move to LA, and then the next group comes up in New York, and you can get kind of stuck in this system where then people were no one's moving, no one's changing. And then, the alt scene kind of got started, and that's because all of us trying to get in the clubs, kind of had to go a different route because we couldn't get in the clubs because there was comics. And it was almost like too many of us at the same time in this clogged up system.
Right.
And I look back at it, and it's frustrating. And, so the path that I took was this long, but I've done every show you could do. I've performed for one guy to 20,000 people.
Yeah.
And so now you just have I just have all this stuff that I've done, and you just want to, you just want to give it to the next generation. You want to, are the younger comics that are younger than me, or as they're going, keep an eye on them, try to help them, not speed up the process, but even give them a process, which is what we're doing at Nateland, where we have a showcase, and then we're doing some half hours and hours, and rebuilding that Comedy Central model that's what I had, which was great, because you had stuff to get to. You wanted to get to an 8-minute set, then you wanted to get to a 30-minute set, then an hour set with Comedy Central. Yeah. So you're always had a place to strive to go to.
Right.
And now the younger comics, their strive is to get followers or something like that, because the clubs are not going to book them, and you're not helping them at all with their act and learning to create an act. Right. And so it can help some of them in the short term. It helps them a ton. They become very, very successful. But then a lot of them really learn a lot of bad habits, and they end up going down a path that they can't be a working comic. You can be a working comic and not be this famous kind of thing. There's a lot of my friends that are comics that work and make great livings, and they're stand-up comedians, and they do corporate work, and they do clubs, and they do cruises, and there's so much stuff you can go do, but you have to have that act. Yeah. You have to have something that you can sit and fall back on, where even it helps with trying to sell movies or TV shows now, because I can sit there and go into these meetings much differently when I know that I'm a stand-up comedian.
Right.
I go do a tour. Like I'm, you know, so it's nice to be able to go in there and just really you can stick to do what you want to go do on that aspect because you're in a lot more control with stand-up.
Totally. And it's great that you're teaching that to other comics as somebody who's pretty much done it all. I mean, this is about as big as you get hosting an award show.
Yeah.
But yeah, final question for me was, what do you feel like is your barometer for how well you did Sunday night?
I think if it's everybody's fun, like if it's like if people are coming to you like, dude, that was so funny. Like you did that, you know, we're doing the Boys and Girls Club. We had to come up with a way to people's thank you speeches can be long. That's a big thing with award shows. So they asked me, they go, if you have a creative way to try to keep their speeches, you know, besides just music, because they ignore the music. And so then I came up with a way where I'm going to donate $100,000 to Boys and Girls Club. And then everybody gets 45 seconds for their thank yous.
Oh, wow.
Every second they go over, we take away $1,000 from the Boys and Girls Club. So you have to, and we got Boys and Girls Club kids coming out there. So like if everybody's going over, you're going to have to look at these kids.
Wow.
But you can also put time back on.
Right.
So if you do 20-second speech, you can throw $25,000 back on top of whatever it is. So that will be a fun barometer just to be. I'm hoping that is such a outside of the system kind of thinking that it can make that be about the night. Like how much money? Because it's like I've got to give this money. So how much is it going to be? Is it going to be $10,000 because everybody went over? Is it going to be way more?
Yeah.
So I hope everybody just has fun, and I think that's a running thing that would a tally that could be fun. And I don't want to be disrespectful. I know people have worked hard and they want to give their thank yous. I would have liked to give my thank yous, but I lost. So, but it's if everybody come back and be like, dude, that was so fun. Like that's what you want to. That's the barometer. Just like, dude, that was so fun, man.
Yeah.
All right. Probably not even saying that much to you. Just like, dude, that was the best. It was very fun to watch. And then you're like, all right, thanks.
Yeah.
And you did good. Entertain people.
Hey, that's the job.
That's the job.
Best job ever.
Yep. Oh yeah, by far.